Welcome to Bachademia, a podcast so educational two professors could be hosting it. Hi, I'm Dr. Danielle Dick-McGue, and joining me is Dr. Bill Henneman.
Welcome to Bachademia. We are starting a new season, and we are pumped. I just told Danielle I'm going to turn it up today, even though I'm having a rough day. I'm ready to go. That's the only complaint you'll hear, Danielle.
This is the best part of your day.
It is. I wore dress clothes. That's how excited I am about it. And I don't know if you can see it, but I have my favorite tie tack, and it's a little wooden sloth.
Oh, that's delightful.
No, right? I ordered that bad boy off Amazon one day. It suggested it, and it's like, damn, Amazon, you know me. You know
I
me.
love it when the algorithms get it right.
Yep. How you feeling, Danielle?
Oh, Bill and I are both have a little dose of rage these days. So This could be a fun podcast.
I'm also on prednisone, which is not helping my rage, which I just took about 20 minutes ago. So
I have no excuse. I'm just ragey. People are all like, have you ever met Danielle? She's the ragey one in common media.
What are you eating? Is that a Ritz?
It's a Ritz cracker.
Nice.
I didn't have time to make lunch today. Y'all, this is how life is. So I'm running from meeting to meeting. So I grabbed some sliced cheese out of my refrigerator and a sleeve of crackers. And this is my lunch for today.
That is totally acceptable in my world. I have my very unimpressive, health shake because, as I've pointed out several times, COVID hit hard up on this 40-year-old body. And so I had the dress clothes today. I had to really stretch them over. So we're trying to get back into the fitness mindset.
You can do it, but also
that's all I need right there.
You look wonderful today in your dress clothes.
Thank you. I was telling Danielle I got to use the industrial irons that we have in the textiles and apparel program because my suit coat was wrinkled, and they are the most beefed up, steroided, badass iron in the world. And the faculty who's in charge of them gave me all of these instructions, and she's like, "Are you going to burn right through your jacket?" And I was like, so I didn't, but I was like, this ends in me burning a hole in my jacket today for sure. So
also, if you're listening and looking for some place to go to college, you should come to UNI. Yeah, because we got big irons,
and a whole sewing room, which I have sewn stuff before in there on off hours when I need to fix hem pants or something. So that's right. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
I can hem pants. I'm a man of several. I'm a man of several talents. All right. Question of the day. What is something you can easily pay for, but it really chaps your ass when you have to pay for it?
Parking.
Oh.
Parking, especially parking at work.
Okay.
Nothing pisses me off more than having to pay $300 to have to drive and park at work.
So you're talking the parking pass, not just the meters.
Yeah, but meters piss me off too.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
I'm in a fantasy land right now because I still have my handicap tag from when I had knee surgery. And so I can park right outside my building, but I don't know exactly when it expires. So every time I go out, I'm like, am I going to have a $200 ticket on I'm playing a real dangerous game.
It is a dangerous game. I got so many tickets a couple years ago that I was on the naughty list.
Oh no. Did they garnish your wages?
Well, so the thing that's funny about it is in my head, I was so for a very long time, my husband and I shared one car, and then we lived really close to campus. So I walked most of the time. Well, then we moved and we needed to drive 2 vehicles to campus. And I was like, I'm not gonna buy 2 parking passes.
Oh.
And I did the math and I was like, you know what? I can just get tickets. I can get 14 tickets before it adds up.
That is awesome.
I pay for a parking pass. So I was like, I'm just going to ride this out and just keep getting tickets. But it turns out that once you hit 10 tickets, you're on a naughty list, and then they double your thing, and then you can get a boot and all this other stuff. So point being, you can't really get 14 tickets
That's amazing.
before the price. Because I was like, I'm gonna do the math here, and I was like, the math shows me that it's like better to just keep getting tickets. So that's what I was gonna do, but that's prohibited.
So I wasn't going to get a parking pass until I paid off all my student loans, because I was punishing myself probably for student loan. I don't know why I did this, but so for like 4 years, I would park on the side streets and like compete with the students to get the parking. And they'd be like, why don't you just have a parking pass? It's the principle of the matter. But now I pay for the
impressed that you paid off your student loans.
I pay for the A pass now. And every day I think about how, yep. I don't like to pay for guacamole on my burrito. It makes me so mad at Poncheros when they're like, that's an extra $2. So I don't know if I've told this story. So like maybe 5 years ago, I won the University Teaching Award. Yeah, you heard that right. University, best teacher at the university. And they gave it like $1,000 like award for it. So this is in Iowa in April, and I'm driving to work. I just got an email and I'm all like giddy, and I'm like, what am I going to spend my $1,000 on? And it started snowing in April, which happens sometimes in Iowa. I slid through the intersection, hit the curb, and bent the axle on my car. $956 to repair. And so it was like, I know exactly where that money's going. And I was like, well, I'm going to do something with this leftover $45. So I went to Poncheros and I got like double meat and like 2 things of guacamole. It was like a $18 burrito. And that was the one time I did it. And I was just like, money be damned. So
I was like hoping that you're going to say like, I was like guilt-free guac for a year.
No,
$1,000 is giving me guac every time.
Because I try to be a very positive person. I was like, I can be mad about this, or I can say this was really good because I had the $1,000. So it was like, it worked out well, but I'd be lying if I didn't say, as I was like waiting for the tow truck to come, I was like, so.
Yeah, guacamole. I understand your guacamole foes though.
I love it. But there's no way the amount of guacamole they put on your burrito is $2.
Here's the thing though, avocados are a very persnickety fruit, I think.
They are a fruit. They're the ovary of the plant. Yeah, they are. They're like, you get them and you're like, I can't eat it. I can't eat it. You're like, today I can eat it. And then something comes up. And then the next day it's like, oh, it's done gone bad.
This is why people listen, folks, so that you can learn these important, like it's gems like this, Bill, that keep our listeners coming back.
They don't just let anyone be on the science bowl team at Newton High School. You have to have a strong backing in the sciences.
You gotta know about
speaking of
avocados and ovaries.
Speaking of stars, Michelle's the Bachelorette this year. So she's from Minnesota. She has a small connection to the University of Northern Iowa where we teach. We're not affiliated right now, but just if you want to go to a college, you and I. She played basketball for Bradley, which is in our conference. And she was recruited to UNI, and the coach who recruited her posted on social media his scouting report. And so here's what we know about Michelle as a basketball player. She was explosive, fast, a really good defender. And when they defended her, they were always trying to drive her to her left hand. And apparently she wasn't a great shooter because they said, don't get up too close because she'll drive around you. So let her take the shot. And that is the hard hitting analytics we really need about all of our bachelors and bachelorettes. Who gives a damn about their enneagrams or their attachment style? I want to know how they are on the court.
Absolutely.
Thoughts on her as the Bachelorette? You had some hot takes. So Danielle was nice enough to come over to the watch party and paint Elaine, who had back surgery, her toenails while watching the show. So she was really the MVP.
One, it was super fun. I still feel like a cool kid if I get to be part of like the watch parties. But also, I am happy to paint Elaine's toenails at any time.
I'll let her know.
Yeah, it was fun. It made me feel, I just want like girlfriends like when I was like 12. Like I just want to have slumber parties and do each other's fingernails. So and watch The Bachelorette. No,
See, I don't
Michelle,
want 12-year-old friends like I had. Like, I don't want to watch like scrambled Cinemax and like try to steal Playboys from the gas station.
that sounds like a ton of fun. If you ever want to go cruising and try to steal Playboys from a gas station on a Friday night, like I think that sounds delightful. You grow up and things aren't nearly as exciting.
You lose the spark.
Right.
All right, Michelle, thoughts on her?
Michelle, okay. So I wasn't sure because I liked Michelle a lot on Matt James's season, but I also didn't. I felt like she was like quieter or like, I don't know. I wasn't sure how she come across like as a bachelorette. And so far though, I like her. I find her to be incredibly direct and she holds back. Like I need to take notes on how to hold boundaries for Michelle.
Yeah. She's confident. I appreciate her confidence and her like, I feel like she knows who she is. And I like that about her. In a way, she's a lot like her and Katie are very different, but they're very similar where they both seem to kind of know who they are. Like they're very different people, I feel like, but they both have a very good sense of who they want to be and how they view the world. And I appreciate that. And I think that's probably who you want to be married to, right? You want to be married to somebody who has a good knowledge of who they are or who they want to become.
Absolutely. Well, and I also think that like she doesn't seem like someone that's going to compromise her values in order to find a partner.
Right.
And I think that that is refreshing.
I agree.
Yeah.
So we got Tayshia and Katelyn back as hostesses. I think hostesses. I don't know. I think they seem way more comfortable. Are you excited for them? Anything big stick out?
So I do. I agree that they seem more comfortable. Okay, so I really like actually the interesting role that they seem to play. But I'm also intrigued by the sort of gendered role of them as host. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me explain this for a bit. Chris Harrison, or even thinking about Bachelor in Paradise and then bringing in all of these different hosts. Yes, the host is there to kind of guide things, maybe every once in a while to discipline, right? Okay, so this is the thing. Notice how the male hosts tend to be more of discipliners. So it's, what's his name that just broke the rules by having a relationship?
Ivan.
So it's like Ivan broke the rules and it's Wells's job to sit him down and kind of discipline him
in a very like fatherly, like, yeah,
it's very paternal.
Yeah.
Where with Katelyn and Tayshia, it's almost like, oh, we're your girlfriends, we're just here to support you, and like they also are protecting, right? Which we saw for better or for worse, which we can talk about in a moment in this very first episode. But it's a different role, and I think that it's gendered, and I'm like down for this role, but I also find it, like they're supposed to be like caretakers and nurturers of Michelle in a way that I never felt like Chris Harrison was like expected to do in quite the same way. So I find that interesting. I just find it interesting. I'm down for it. Like I like the dynamic, but I also wonder why we expect that they take on that role. Let me put it that way.
I agree. I noticed that too, that it's very much this kind of weird, not weird, but it's very like sisters, like they're there to like help and emotionally support. And yeah, it's interesting. They lose their like power as the host that Chris had. Like the show is not making it inherent to them like it did with Chris. Like they kind of set him up to be like the person who could say, like, let things like it was set up that he could let things happen, right? Someone would come and be like, I want to, and he'd be like, well, we'll let you do that. But I don't think that they would do that with Tayshia and Katelyn. Like, I think one time somebody wanted to keep 7 instead of 6 women. And Chris was like, we can do that. but I don't think that's how it would happen with them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll have to like.
That's what people
Right
come
on.
for, Danielle. That deep insight that only
Absolutely.
years of academia could. That's why you're here. So then there's one part where they Katelyn and Tayshia go to the guys' rooms and start kind of like looking through their stuff. And Elaine was not impressed with this. She felt like it was a real violation of personal space. What do you think?
So, yes, I agree with Elaine. I think that I understand that when people agree to come on the show, they probably are signing away a lot of their privacy in a lot of different ways. But that doesn't mean that you have to capitalize on it. And so, like, I mean, I think that it was meant to maybe be a funny bit, like, oh, let's make fun of and like come and out them about weird or funny things. But it felt really intrusive. Even if I also am really creeped out by what they found.
So here was what I thought about it. I think it should be like, if you've ever watched, and now I'm gonna forget the name of it, but where they look at like the storage lockers, and then you can buy the storage. It's like pawn storage or whatever. It's
Yeah.
But like the rule in that is you can't touch anything, you can't move anything, but you can look inside. And I feel like if they were just like looking at their suitcase, their bathroom, that's fine. But it was when they like started going through the guy's like notebook and like pulling stuff out, that's when I feel like it was a violation of personal space. Like I feel
Well,
like
and it didn't seem like they consented, like he consented to it.
right.
Because he's like, like, okay. They're like, well, you're getting out, and he's like,
yeah. Well, and it was even made harder because the guy, and we'll talk about him later, he was kind of a weirdo, right? Like, I mean, some of the stuff that came out, he clearly was there to see if he could like get a lot of TV time. If it had been like this like amazing guy and there was nothing wrong with him, then I feel like you would have been like, that's a real violation, right? But with him, it's also like, well, they caught him, and yeah, so
they also probably wouldn't have shown it to us.
That's true.
If they hadn't found anything interesting. So
that's a good
it's
point.
Also, being done to find something that is.
They didn't show anything about Pardeep.
Nope.
Who got
By the way, who is the first Indian contestant on the Bachelorette? Definitely, maybe on in the Bachelor franchise. I'll have to look into that.
So
I don't know if it's just Bachelorette or the whole franchise.
I believe that there was somebody who had some type of Indian background, one of the female contestants. I think she might have, I don't know. I'm pretty sure, but I think he's for sure the first male. But he got a rose, and I was like, I didn't even know this guy existed. It's like they probably went through his stuff and they're like, oh, it's nothing of interest. Like, so. All right. You ready for quick fire?
Bring it on.
All right. If you all are watching on YouTube, I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
I can.
I said it. I know you shouldn't say that, but all right. So we are going to go through each of the gentlemen. Are you still seeing the pictures of the cast?
We are.
All right. Here we go. We're going to go quick fire, some thoughts on each dude. All right. Alec, engineer, North Charleston, South Carolina.
Boring.
He looks like an engineer.
He does look like an engineer.
Brandon J, traveling nurse recruiter, Portland, Oregon.
I liked him when they showed like they did like a little clip with him.
Mm-hmm.
Now remind me, did he also have like, I felt like there's some strange earring trends happening.
I think he was one of the guys that had the one earring. He loves the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, okay.
He once hopped on stage with Little Wayne and Drake. No interest in going bungee jumping.
All right.
Yeah.
So I like him. I'm interested in where things go with him. but I also am feeling old and confused by the one dangly earring.
It's a very early 90s, which I think is where we are in fashion right now.
I can't handle it. I can't handle it.
Brandon K, brand manager, Austin, Texas. He's a polished Southern gentleman.
So I thought that he seemed a little out of place.
Yeah.
In like, he got sent home, didn't he?
Let me look. Yes, Brandon K, he gone.
Yeah, and I kind of like, that didn't really surprise me. I felt like he didn't really stick out in any interesting way.
See ya, Brandon. Brian. Brian also got eliminated. Former football player, Chicago, Illinois. He's a great big dude. Like, they were dancing at one point, and he looks like he's a giant.
Yes, we thought that he has a Gaston chin.
Yeah. Anything
I
else?
like that he's into the Socratic method here.
Yeah.
He likes philosophy and Socrates.
Yeah. He's been to every continent except Antarctica. I feel like this was one that got away. He also thinks orchids are majestic.
Well, that's lovely. Look at him breaking masculine stereotypes.
All right. Casey. Casey's an advertising creative director from Miami, Florida. He's secretly a hippie. He likes camping but hates sleeping in tents, so he doesn't like camping. And
well, how are you a hippie that doesn't like tents?
yeah, he doesn't like camping either. He's like, I like camping, but I don't like to sleep in tents. And you don't like camping. You like going on hikes.
Yeah, I am like that.
Yeah, well, that doesn't count.
Wow.
He didn't get sent home, though. Chris G, motivational speaker, Halifax, Nova Scotia.
So of course I like Chris G.
Yeah.
I thought that he was really handsome, more handsome than this picture suggests. Oh my gosh, the suit jacket with the hoodie. Oh my goodness, I'm old and I'm offended by all this young people fashion. I thought he was handsome. I do feel like as the show went on though, and I saw him a little more, I was like, this guy's kind of weird too.
His voice sounds like Christopher Walken's. Like, he's got an accent that's a combination, and I just can't figure it out. But he loves escape rooms, so him and I have that in common. And he has 2 cats, and he enjoys performing spoken word poetry, which I believe he did when they that was his coming out of the limo thing.
So here's the thing. I feel like I have a lot in common with Chris. We both are aspiring motivational speakers. I once performed a really bad spoken word poem at a poetry slam. And I had a fish named Mr. Fish one time.
Wow. Virtually identical.
Twinsies.
Chris S., who I believe was the really douchey guy from Louisiana, but he's in California. They showed him getting his eyebrows waxed. Yeah.
This guy, I'm just like, run.
Yeah.
Run. It's hard because I was like, oh, he's like I like a person that wants to wear floaties as an adult. I'm like down for that. But everything was annoying when he did it.
Yeah.
Like, and then his weird, so he was wearing shorts.
Yes.
And
with a tux top.
Backpack.
Yeah.
I thought he looked like a Mormon missionary until I saw that his like pants were cut off. But then like he had that weird, he flirted with her in a really weird way. Oh, he said that she was like gonna get a D.
Yeah, he's like, I'll give you a D. And he was like, detention? Yeah. Yeah. I'm not in. I'm not down. But I think he's gonna be around a long time. And I think he's gonna frustrate people and annoy them.
Yeah.
Clayton, medical sales rep from Columbia, who allegedly is the next Bachelor.
So I'm intrigued. I'm interested. In terms of his appearance, whatever. In terms of his like how he acted, I thought he seemed normal and nice
I don't
enough.
know. Could we get a more like vanilla like bachelor? It's like from Missouri who played football and his parents own a beach house and he's got a rapping alter ego. I'm just not.
I would be really excited if we got an Iowa bachelor.
We had one, Chris Soules. Saw how that turned out.
I forgot.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't be that excited.
Firefighter Dan wants to know if aliens really exist. He was a Connect 4 champion, loves Christmas music.
So I will say I am struck by how different his picture looks than he
Yes.
looked in his firefighter outfit.
Yeah. I liked him. I'm giving him the green light. I think he's going to be good.
All right.
Edward, the wellness coach that was using the singing bowl, and he got sent packing.
Yeah.
You come up to me with a singing bowl and you've lost me at that point. Like I have no interest in being friends with you.
I think that like I am like 2 steps away from like having a career that involves me using a
How are we such good friends? That's what I want to
don't
know.
I have no idea.
I would have.
I feel like I like somehow like tricked you into being my friend. Like
I
had
would've
you known me better before you got involved on this podcast thing, you would have already friend dumped me.
He enjoys listening to John Mayer. I feel like that's probably like you. That's when you were like, run. That's a oof.
His body is a wonderland.
It is. Garrett, the man with the cane, which as a person currently using a cane for some parts of travel, I appreciate that. Thoughts? He's a tech CEO. He dropped out of college. Loves, calls himself Plant Daddy. Loves pickles.
I'm here for it.
He
Did
got-
he stay or did he get?
Nah, he got sent home. Yeah. She actually, like, if you're going by like alphabetical order, she seemed to be sending people home in clumps based on their alphabetical ranking. Because Jack Russell, the terrier, who actually kind of looked like our dog Carlos, who's a Jack Russell, got sent home. I don't know. Throw up on the side of an onion, afraid of dancing, loves kickball.
I liked him just fine when he was on, but I immediately was like, I just don't see this.
Yeah, that's where I was at. Like I liked him, but it was just like, this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Jamie, biotech CEO, San Diego, traveled to Ecuador just to try their chocolate. Has never watched an episode of reality TV, but now he's on reality TV, which I don't think is braggable to me. Like if you're like, I don't watch reality TV, but I'm going to be on reality TV. I don't get it.
So in other words, you'll profit from it, but you won't consume it. But I gotta have some respect for someone who is willing. I mean, I would like to get to a place in my life where I will travel out of the country just to eat chocolate.
Oh yeah, if I had the money, I would do that. Like I'd be like, I want some paella, and I just fly to Spain.
I'm really into goal setting, and I think this has inspired a potential future goal.
To be that wealthy that you can just be like, I want some chocolate.
Absolutely.
I like it. Joe. So Joe, we actually have some things to say about. Joe's scared of spiders. He loves snacks. He wants to travel to the Galapagos Islands one day, but apparently, and he played basketball at the University of Minnesota. But him and Michelle have a history, and she had actually reached out to him. They messaged back and forth a little bit, and then he just quit messaging her. And then they had a conversation about it, and he said it was because of the whole George Floyd thing, and one of his properties got taken down. And Michelle was not happy because she felt like, well, did you come back on the show because you wanted to meet with me because now I'm the Bachelorette? Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think it's kind of complicated because I feel like, one, I really like him because he has pretty eyes.
Mhm.
But it seems like there's some potential there,
Mhm.
right? Like, it wasn't that anything was going wrong. But I think in a real situation, if he had reached out to her again,
Mhm.
right? And had sort of been like, hey, a lot was going on. I just wasn't prioritizing, like I just fell
Right.
away from things. You'd probably be pretty understanding.
Right.
But I do think that because of the nature of the show and what people maybe have to gain from being on the show, how can she not be skeptical?
I agree.
But I thought that their conversation, like, they both handled the conversation really well.
Yeah.
So if I think they can move past this, I think that there's actually some potential there.
Yeah, and I thought he was pretty understanding of why she was annoyed too. He kind of said that, he's like, I wasn't ready to answer that. He's like, I could have done it better. So I guess that's all you can expect from someone you're dating, right? Is that they are introspective about how they deal with things like that. Joe Mare, personal trainer. I think he got sent home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a really low voice.
Yes, he did. I liked it. He eats an entire watermelon every morning. Wow.
That is like a very weird fact.
Yeah. A whole watermelon. Dang.
I wonder, I mean, it seems like it'd be pretty hydrating.
Yeah. I don't know. Leroy, who's the biomedical PhD student, co-host Kim is all in on him. She is
Right.
pro
He's got a
Leroy.
great smile.
He likes to go kart, does not like to gamble. He's a big fan of breakfast in bed.
I mean,
I trust him.
I trust people who like brunch.
Yeah.
People that are like not brunch people, I don't trust.
I don't get why you cannot like brunch. Like,
I feel like brunch is like an excuse to eat dessert like foods and call it a meal.
I agree. LT, yoga guru. We didn't see much of him. Never had to worry much about in his life. He's never had to worry much about in his life. Cool. That's a good way to be. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Good for you.
2 pet Savannah cats. Lives for a good spin class. Oh no, Elaine hasn't seen this. She's going to be all over that.
Yeah.
HIJK L. Yep, I am singing the alphabet. Martin has unfortunate hair combo. He did the backflip, and that's one of his things. He can do a backflip, and then he made sure that you saw the backflip.
And it was like a precarious situation. I think she was like, oh no, don't kick me in the face.
Yep.
Or land on your face. I just can't. This in sync hair.
He was in a lot of promos, so I don't know if maybe he hangs around for a while.
Huh.
I do like that he wrote he can cook the basics very well. And I was like, what do you mean by the basics?
What are the basics? Is that like you can make eggs? Like toast?
Grilled cheese. Yeah.
Where's he from? Miami?
Yeah.
I don't know what the basics are. Cause like in Iowa, maybe the basics are like steak and potatoes.
Casserole.
Yeah, I think casseroles are impractical. Can we talk about this for a bit?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, Danielle.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Because you have to cook things twice.
Oh.
Like if you're just like gonna dump something and then like put it in the oven, I'm good to go. But when it's like, oh, I have to like first of all like brown meat on the stove, and then I have to put it in the casserole, like tater tot casserole, for example. I'm just like, why not just make it on the stovetop and then throw some potato olays on the top?
They need to get real acquainted with each other in the second cooking.
It's about the mesh of flavors.
Yeah.
It's too tedious.
Yeah.
Did
That's
we do
why
it
it's
in Iowa? Did it keep our houses warm back in the day to like double cook things? I don't understand the practicality of this.
I think they stay so hot, and so they do really well when you bring them to the church luncheon.
Oh,
I don't know. I just made that up.
I'm willing to accept that the heat, the keeping the heat for a long time is a useful thing.
I like it.
All right, cool. We can talk about Malik.
I don't have much to say about him other than his favorite author is Nicholas Sparks.
Oh, me too.
Really?
Well, I don't know if that's my favorite author, but Nicholas.
So why did you say me too?
Well, because Nicholas, I might mention that on my Facebook page, but Nicholas Sparks is definitely is a gateway drug into like romance novels. Especially like not particularly, they're like what I would call like smutless romance novels. It's like very pure.
Oh, is he the one who wrote The Notebook?
Yes, and it's the most beautiful story.
Oh, Elaine is not a Notebook fan because of the poor depiction of dementia.
Oh, well, I'm gonna have to paint all over her toes because I love that movie.
Let's see. Nate, who got the first impression rose. And I think he's awesome.
I like Nate.
He likes edible arrangements. Who doesn't like edible arrangements? I've never gotten one and I've always wanted one. Just an
arrangement. An edible arrangement at least once in my life from a realtor.
I think they're a brilliant idea.
It is brilliant.
It's a gift you can eat. So we are on to Olamide. I think that's how you pronounce it. High tea. Enjoys theater. Favorite flower is a cherry blossom. Hates tofu. Thoughts?
This is not helpful.
No, none of that.
No.
Yeah.
First off, you're on a reality TV show. Half the people like theater because they want to be actors.
Right.
And cherry blossom is interesting. It is a great flower with a good stories behind it. But tofu, I
love tofu.
I like tofu.
Crunchy tofu.
It's very versatile.
All right. So Pardeep, we didn't see anything about him. He's a neuroscientist from Brooklyn. They didn't say a word about him, but he's the perfect combo of looks and intelligence is what it says, which I think is odd to say about yourself.
I have such feelings about Pardeep. So he likes to sleep in on Saturdays. I'm like, is there anyone that's like, I'm opposed to sleeping in on Saturdays? And then okay, I love New Year's too, because I also love new beginnings. I like the beginning of the week. I like the beginning of the day. I am all down for starts. But when he says he doesn't enjoy sitting on park benches, it's done. We're done, Pardeep.
His little tidbits about him, it just seems like maybe he accidentally showed up and they're like, you're good looking, let's get you in here, buddy. But I don't know, he just seemed very out of place. PJ, the other firefighter,
he did not have his mustache, did he?
He did, I think.
He did?
Maybe not. He had a one earring though, I think.
I remember the earring. I don't remember the mustache, and I feel like I would have.
He had a lot of you could tell he thought he was a badass because he was a fireman. I wasn't real sold on him, and I feel like he's gonna have some alpha male problems as this goes on.
All right.
I skipped Peter. I am not a fan of Peter. He was the Italian guy who makes pizza. He looks like a type of he just looks like he's going to be annoying. He
was a little intense.
Yeah.
And I understand that you want to stand out, but there's good standout and there's bad standout.
Yep. Not a fan. Rick, who's the table dude. I liked Rick.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought he was endearingly dorky.
You don't typically expect to like the person that put their head on a platter.
I feel like he played it perfect, right? He like laughed about it. You could tell the guys were giving him crap and he was joking. She made a couple jokes and then it like he came out of there at the perfect time. Like,
Yes. So we kind of had a conversation about this on text, but do we think there's like some rule that they like won't let them out of their, like, why did James stay in that box the whole time? Like,
I think that's a new thing because in the past they would let you kind of change. And I think like at some point they were like, if you do this, you do it the whole time. And I think it's so that people can remember who you are. So they don't want you showing up in a Speedo and then taking the Speedo off and then people being like, wait, who's that guy? So.
I don't know.
I like him. I dig him.
I like him. I don't like that they make people stay in their things.
I think you should have to. I think you dance with who brought you.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Of course, Bill. Of course.
Yes. Rodney. Rodney is afraid of possums. He's terrified of being catfished. And he's very into intermittent fasting, but only on weekdays. I don't know anything.
Me too, bro. Me too.
I have no I didn't know anything about him, but I kind of love him now. I feel like he's gonna be the next Ed. I'm calling him the next Ed. Like Romeo. I think Romeo was the one who spoke
French, right?
French, yeah. Yeah, I think he's not gonna get picked, but man, he seemed like he kind of had some interesting parts to him. And he's a mathematician.
And he wants to go to Burning Man. That like seems in conflict with some other things we know about him.
Yeah,
bring it on.
He's a real mystery wrapped
Absolutely.
up. All right.
He studied Japanese in college.
Uh-oh. We're almost done.
Was he speaking Japanese and we thought he was speaking French?
No, it was for sure French.
Okay, I thought so too.
Oh, I'm breaking stuff. All right, here we go. We're on to Ryan, right?
Sure, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan's
he's a complicated, problematic dude.
Danielle and I learned a valuable lesson that you should be prepared, but don't write down how you're preparing. And this is what Ryan taught us. That's why we seem so unprepared today. He was the one, he had all these notes that Tayshia and Katelyn found, and then they like outed him. And then Michelle made him go upstairs and show the notes. And he kind of was like, well, I'd never watched any reality television. And so these were notes from my friend, but then they learned that he had taken some. And then he said he took them while he watched her season. And in the end, she sent him packing. And there was one note that from his friend said, your worst characteristic is that you can be like domineering and seem like you talk down.
Mean and arrogant.
And arrogant. Keep those thoughts to yourself. And it's like, I think she sent him home, if nothing else, just because the guy sounded like a dick.
So I thought he was kind of weird and creepy before we learned about all the note stuff.
Yes.
And then I felt like his reaction to the notes was also like, oh, I prepared for this too.
Yeah. He was something.
I have a story for why I have all these notes and I've memorized it and him executing that perfectly.
Oh man, it was bad.
I have to say though, I'm kind of bored. A little bit bored by this. Are people here for the wrong reasons?
Right.
Sort of like plot that seems to continuously be perpetuated.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to, this is like my short extra credit is, she kept talking about authenticity. We were joking as we were watching that maybe authenticity is going to be the new vulnerability of this season. And so I teach a course called Performing Identity, and a lot of the research, right, on identity is plural, right? So it's identities, selves, as opposed to self. that this idea that there's like some sort of authentic self that you can like dig and locate and isn't really a thing. That, you know, identity is this, we're in a constant state of becoming. That doesn't mean that we don't have things that are maybe unique to our personality or things like that, but rather that like this concept of authentic self is kind of futile. And what's really fascinating to me though is teaching these courses and working with college students. I think that authenticity is something that people are very, very concerned with right now. And I think it is a reaction to the digital age and our digital selves. So I think that we recognize that things like Instagram and things like that are aren't telling the whole story.
Right.
But I think what we sort of forget with that is like, yes, Instagram may not tell us who somebody is. So we might only be seeing a portion, but it's also not them, right? So like when we see people on this show, we're only getting a glimpse of Michelle,
Right.
but it's also not Michelle. So this still is her. It just might be part of her, rather than thinking this is the true Michelle and this is the false Michelle, thinking that we're seeing more like a rhizome or
Whoa,
maybe like a
that's a big word.
a diamond, right? Like that, like we're seeing fractions or
like
fractals or like of people as opposed to like a true self or a false self. So anyway, I just wanted to like drop a little bit of thoughts on y'all, and I'll keep talking about this maybe as the season continues.
So that's interesting because at one point that Ryan guy did say, I'm acting like myself. And she said, I don't want you to act. And I was kind of like, but aren't we always kind of acting? It's like you kind of have parts of yourself. And it's like, I don't act like Bill at home at work. There's a different Bill that kind of shows up at work. And it's not that I'm being inauthentic. I'm using the parts that I need to get the things done that I need to get done.
So yeah, so like as a performance scholar, there's kind of like a bias that we have towards acting, and you really feel that anti-theatrical bias right now. Like to be performative is to do something that doesn't have real meaning.
Right.
To act is to fake. And in my field, we always say that faking it is making it, right? So like even if you are faking it, you're still producing an identity in the process. It's still generative, it's still constitutive, it's still building something, even if we think it's fake.
Interesting.
Okay, anyway, Spencer.
All right. I don't have anything to say about Spencer.
Nice smile, Spencer.
Love it.
He wants to spend time in a hot tub. Well, he
like
came
it.
to the right show.
Loves a good snowball fights. Doesn't like movies that require a lot of attention. I get that.
Me too.
What about Will? He's an academic interventionist. We just wanted to know what that is. So like, does he come in when you're having like curricular problems or if you're fighting with your faculty?
I don't know.
I'm going to try to get him.
Imagine that he's like, you're being too academic, I'm intervening. So
I'm going to try to get him. I am going to bend every power that I have at this university to get him hired to do something.
It's like on Bachademia, if we aren't conversational enough, he comes in and he intervenes on our academic.
Quit being academic.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. All right. So
yeah.
So we just have a few things we need to talk about. Brandon K, Brian, Edward, Garrett, Jack Russell, Joe, Mari, and Ryan go home. Quick fire again. Nate gets the first impression rose. But who are your top three, D3?
Nate, Joe, and Clayton.
Nate, Joe, and Clayton. I'm going Nate, Joe, and I know I should go Clayton because he's going to make it, but I am going to throw in Leroy.
Oh.
So
Leroy.
Who's going to be the biggest shit starter?
The guy from Chris
Yep.
S.
Yeah,
Louisiana.
I agree. Will any guys become mortal enemies? What two guys won't get along?
Let's see. Ooh, Chris G and Chris S. It's gonna be a battle of the Chris's.
I'm thinking Chris, the guy from LA, and Joe, the guy from Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's going to be a battle. So, all right. Lessons learned.
Don't prepare. Right? I think like that's our big. You shouldn't prepare. You will be punished.
I think you should prepare, but don't write it down. Much like when I was in the counseling field, it's like you don't take notes that you don't want to get subpoenaed. Like you don't.
Oh,
Yeah.
I had not thought about that.
I failed to prepare to be successful. That's right. Like today, this was a resounding success because we were just like, you know what? We're just going to come in, do it.
Yo, we're holding on loosely over here.
Yeah. Yep.
Loose.
I just can't believe I haven't broken something yet today in a prednisone rage.
Well, there's always time, Bill.
That's true. It's only 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So,
yeah.
All right, D3, you get the last word.
I got nothing. I was gonna say something profound.
Don't you have a performance coming up?
Oh, we do. So November 4th, 5th, and 6th, we have a night of memories in the theater. It's 3 short performances. One called Decade, Decade of Depression, written by one of our undergraduates, Nico Welford. And then we have 2 pieces that have a very strong like Black Mirror vibe by written by Tyler Montgomery, who's a graduate student here. And they are called You Have the Right to Forget and Keyboard Memories.
Oh,
very
I love
interesting.
I love it.
So
all at the University of Northern Iowa.
Yep,
which we are not affiliated with.
For free at Eventbrite.
Yeah, nice.
Oh,
email bachademia@gmail.com if you want more information.
We hook you up.
What a fun way to end. All right. Well, have a good rest of your Wednesday.
You too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
You've been listening to Bachademia with your hosts, Drs. Daniel Dick McGew and Bill Henniger. All opinions expressed on this show are solely the opinion of the person who spoke them. If you like our podcast, please consider following us, leaving us a 5-star rating, and a positive review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, please share with your friends, family, and other ardent Bachelor content lovers. If you have comments or questions you would like us to address on the show, you can email us at bachademia@gmail.com or on the Twitter with the handle @Bachademia. Thanks for listening.